Welcome to Cheating Story Tales. Before we dive into today's story, we have a humble request. Please consider subscribing to this new channel. Help us hit our first milestone of 1,000 subscribers. Your support will motivate us to keep bringing you more exclusive original cheating wife stories, and now, let's get started with today's story. Time for another out-of-this-world story from our space. What do you do when your spouse plans a divorce on your anniversary, but you're not the one who's blindsided? You could cry or you could turn the tables so dramatically today on our space. Let's get creative. Wife cheated with her colleague and secretly planned to divorce me. I blindsided and served her publicly. This is a throwaway account. I want to keep it really discreet. There's a lot at stake in case something comes out. So, yeah, let's come to the point. I, 37 male, have this feeling that my wife, 39 female, let's call her Nora, has been up to something, could be an affair. I don't know. Or maybe she's grown out of love. She has been acting very weird and cold for the last few months initially. I brush it off as a phase, but now I think I should take action before it's too late. So Nora and I have been married for a little less than 8 years. Before that, we dated for almost 5 years. We used to work in sales. Back then, it was a part-time job for both of us. Nora was saving up for her master's, and I was working on my business. Eventually, we both quit. She got into grad school, and I set up my business after she completed her studies. She asked me about my plans for our future. She wanted marriage. She dreamed of stability and a life together. But I was hesitant. I explained how demanding my work was, and how I might not have the time to give her the life she wanted. You see, I don't come from an affluent family, and I wanted to build that wealth for my next generation. Nora promised to stand by my side through thick and thin. She assured me not to be a clingy wife, as she was planning to go for her PhD and get into research fields, which was kind of demanding. Eventually, I gave in, thinking I had found my forever partner. Our plans seemed best for us. We got married. The first few years of our marriage were challenging, but we worked around it. While I worked tirelessly, Nora managed the home alongside her PhD. I put my heart in, sewing into work. It doesn't mean I ignored her. We still had our monthly date nights and quarterly vacations, just that I couldn't help her with daily household chores. However, I ensured I dedicated my Sundays to the house, fixing the basin, cleaning the attic, plumbing the blocked pipes, and everything that was expected of me. She sometimes complained about my late hours or missed dinners, but she was understanding. After all the money I brought to the house gave us a comfortable and secure life. Her unwavering support made me believe we were building something beautiful together. She completed her PhD, but she never joined work. She volunteered for some research work here and there. Nothing to be called as a career. I think she kind of got complacent with her life, and I don't mind because my business was thriving and I was able to provide for both of us quite comfortably. Fast forward to today, my business is stable, and we live a life of comfort and substantial wealth. I finally have the time and resources to focus on her and her future. Also, we've been planning for a baby for the last 3 to 4 years. Due to our advanced age, it has become a hindrance, although it's not a big deal for us. It was taking a toll on our mental health, especially hers. Almost a year ago, we went for a therapy and post, which she decided to start her career to distract herself. She felt unfulfilled and needed something of her own. I was super supportive of her decision. All I wanted was to see her happy. I asked if something was bothering her or what the trigger was behind the decision. She said she wanted to have a baby first before starting her career, but now the chances looked slim. It was driving her crazy. So shifting her focus on her career makes sense. I was on board with her idea. It sounded like the most logical decision. I helped her out scouting for work. It took her a while to find an opportunity. Eventually, she landed a job at a mid-sized firm. She was excited. I felt so good to finally see her happy. After months, our relationship also got better, but it was short-lived for the last 3 to 4 months. Something has changed. She's no longer the warm, loving woman I married. She's become distant, irritable, and constantly glued to her phone and laptop. When all these started, she blamed her work, saying she needed to put extra effort in to learn the ropes. She started working late hours, coming home well after dinner. It was still fine because she took responsibility for her actions. She would inform me if she was running late or plan something sweet to compensate for missing the date night. I thought it was the stress of a new job, so I gave her space. But things only got worse nowadays. She barely talks to me, or even smiles at me whenever I try to confront her. She replies with cold, single-worded answers. When I ask about her schedule, she snaps and accuses me of being controlling. The worst part, she has started gaslighting me as if everything is my fault. Whenever I complain to her about not giving us enough time, she smirks and says, "This is how you have been for the last 8 years. It feels like she's taking revenge on me or maybe holding a grudge against me, because these days she often uses these sentences. How does it feel to be neglected? Feels terrible to be at the other end, right? Tables have turned. Now I sacrificed golden years of my life for you. Now I just want to live for myself." It feels miserable to think that she has been holding it up all this while I've tried to confront her about this because it's getting toxic. I tried to have honest talks with her that were, she really unhappy? The problem is, she's not ready to open up whenever I bring this up. She smirks and says, "Look at you, who's needy. Now who's acting immature?" Therapy was my last bet, hoping she would open up there. Guess what? She isn't ready to go for it either. Her attitude is driving me crazy. I've asked her several times if she's angry with me or if she doesn't love me anymore, or if she has found someone else. Her answer to all my questions is a chuckling or loud laugh, followed by a sarcastic remark or gaslighting that I'm reaping the fruit of my actions. What actions? Not clear, no specific answer to anything, just smirking and eye rolls and avoiding discussions. She's practically glued to her phone and laptop all the time. She'd laugh at texts and then quickly lock her screen. If I was nearby of late, she doesn't even bother to inform me where she's going. I have told her, behavior is ruining our marriage, but it looks like she doesn't care. She has been spending weekends with her colleagues. I feel I'm losing her, or maybe I've already lost her. I even asked her if she wants to divorce me. Same answer. Just chuckles and vague remarks like, "Not so easily, honey." I have tried to snoop into her phone and laptop, but it's locked all the time. Once or twice, I asked her for the password, but she said, "Did I ever check your phone or laptop?" No. Right, so back off. If I try to tell her how she's been acting, she shifts the blame on me. That this is how I used to treat her all this. While I asked her why she never voiced her concerns, she said she sacrificed everything because she loved me, and now it was my turn to prove my love. It sounds very illogical to me. I'm not here to validate my concern. I know it's concerning and I cannot live like this. I also want to find out what's happening behind the curtain. I'm exploring the option of hiring a PI, but I really don't know how it works. Can any of you help me with the leads or the detailed info, precautions, legality of stuff like that? I tried to check it online. It's too overwhelming. So came here to seek help. Thanks in advance. Wake up, op. You've already lost her. She's not ready to open up because she's not ready to take responsibility and likely never will be ready. She's handling this tables of turns scenario all wrong. That's not how this works. Sounds like she's just looking for an excuse for some bad behavior. She's thinking you owe her something that's for music. Sure, update 1. Thanks people for helping me out with the pie and stuff and introducing me to a community of similar individuals. It's kind of helped knowing you're not alone. I've written in bits and pieces in the comments. Here's a detailed version of how I dealt with everything. Despite multiple times I failed to get through her laptop and phone. Ultimately a pie. It took them around a month to dig into stuff. The wait was killing me, but more than that, her behavior was getting on my nerves day by day. I was getting pretty sure she was effing someone. When the agency shared the details, I was quite prepared. Still, there was something there that threw me off the rails. She was cheating on me with her colleague. He is 10 years younger than her, but they're working at the same level in the company. Their relationship is not only limited to physical, but they are apparently in love. The agency shared pictures of them going inside a hotel hand-in. And the part that left me heartbroken was she's planning to divorce me. She has been visiting a divorce lawyer with the affair partner and intended to serve me on her 8th anniversary and walk away with half of my assets. I can express how I felt after knowing her plan. It was easy to just throw the idents on her face and get rid of her, but how could I let her off the hook so easily? She wanted to make it traumatic. I had to fulfill her desire as a good husband, right? If she had a problem with me, she could have directly talked to me instead of playing the dirty game. Even if she fell in love with someone and wanted a divorce, she could have walked up to me and confessed. Instead, this witch was planning to host a crap show to humiliate me, so I played along. I immediately hired a divorce lawyer and shared all the details I got from the agency. I even paid extra to expedite the process because I had to beat her in her own game. Meanwhile, she continued with her nuisance. It became very difficult to put up with her. After knowing the truth, I started spending more time at work for a while. She didn't notice I had become distant, and it stopped bothering her, however. When she realized, she started throwing me breadcrumbs to keep me engaged so that she could pull the carpet off my feet. After months she tried to get intimate with me. It felt disgusting, knowing there's someone else who's ravishing her at the same time, not too proud of my actions. But that day I gave up and had her in a very rough way. I almost made her cry. Yet I was not ready to leave. I feel like throwing up whenever I think of that. There's one more thing I did on that night. I recorded us on audio, wanted to have the video thing, but couldn't set it up at the last moment, so I went with the audio. It served two purposes since the paperwork was on. My lawyer cautioned me to document and record every interaction with her as much as possible. That recording also helped me. Later we'll come to it. Once the paper was ready, I planned a surprise party for her, where I could serve her in front of friends and family before I could put my plan into action. Opportunity walked up to me. There was an annual day celebration at her company, and I got an invite to tag along. Nothing like it. Right, with my lawyer's help, I prepared to serve her divorce papers publicly. In the days leading up to the event, I played the role of a clueless husband. She probably thought she had me wrapped around her finger. She asked me if I was attending. I said, "I'm not sure if I have a free schedule. I might show up for a while." She didn't seem to care. She thought I wouldn't go on the night of the event. I dressed sharply and showed up. I didn't call her in prior. I just walked inside hoping to bump into her in an awkward situation. The atmosphere was lively with people talking and bonding. Then finally our eyes met. She was there with a bunch of people laughing and drooling as if she didn't have a care in the world. A fair partner was also present there. I could spot him from a distance. I had received his picture from the agency. I walked up to her, and she flustered on seeing me. However, she quickly got normal and introduced me to everyone. I was focusing on a fair partner's reaction. He got dang nervous just after exchanging the pleasantries. He backed off, but I saw him staring at me from a distance. My stomach churned with anger, but I stayed calm because my plan was to bring him down to his knees. What next? I just waited for a perfect opportunity where maximum people would be gathered together, so my revenge is impactful slowly. As people started relaxing and loosening up, I pulled some of her colleagues and their partners aside to raise a toast to Nora. I started off by thanking her for standing by me for 8 years, and just when she was struck at my gesture, I exposed her affair. I don't remember the exact words to word. I was pretty anxious and in turmoil. I said I have a gift for Nora for being such a wonderful wife. I pulled out the paper and handed it to her while she was opening it. I said, "Let's raise a toast to the new couple in town, my wife and this loser son of a wolf." Nora froze on seeing the headline and she tried to stop me. I screamed, "Happy anniversary! Baby, you were planning a surprise for me on our anniversary. I gave you one before it." I saw from the corner of my eye that a fair partner was trying to sneak out of the party. I pounced and held him by his collar. Let me tell you, I'm 6'5", and this guy is barely 5'8". I almost swept him off the ground and asked him how long he's been screwing my wife in a fraction of a second. The security intervened and freed him from my hands, but even for that short span, I felt satisfied. Needless to say, I was escorted out. I don't look back to see Nora or what happened with the fair partner. I just headed out of the venue and drove off. I came back home and waited to see if she returned. She didn't. It was dead silence for 2 days, after which I got a call from a lawyer for a meeting. She wanted me to ship out my stuff because she was claiming the house in the Ohlone. I was like, F off, I'm going to destroy you if you lay your effing eyes on my house. I agreed to the meeting, tagged my lawyer along. She confessed about falling in love with the affair partner. She resented me because I had ignored her for my work. She also alleged that I was denying her physical intimacy. For years, she and affair partner were even planning to get married as soon as the divorce was settled. Her approached for out-of-court settlement, and her terms were, she wanted half of my assets and the house, and that too. Immediately, I set my foot down about letting her have my house. My lawyer said we'll fight in court as I was not willing to part with my assets so easily. We came to a middle ground that I'll ship out her stuff, and until the divorce is settled, I won't sell the house the next day. She arrived with her lawyer and moved out all of her stuff that very evening. I showed up at Fair Partner's place. She had moved in with him. He got crap scared on seeing me. She came out from the bedroom and tried to guard Affair Partner. I pulled her aside and said, "Back off." I told him I wasn't there to create a scene. I just wanted to share something with him. "Man, I whispered, you love this woman, right? She told you she had been neglected in her marriage and had been lonely for 8 years, and that's how she crawled inside your pants, right? Do you know she was still sleeping with me while professing her love for you?" He looked at her in disbelief. He almost freaked out and asked her why she lied to him about her sex life. He repeated the sentence. "Why did you swear you didn't sleep with your husband for years? You lied to me." She dodged his question and said she'd explain everything later. At that moment, her priority was to kick me out before I did more damage. She asked me to leave and threatened to call the cops on me. I said I'll go, but not before I expose you. I looked at the affair partner and said, "She was swearing about not having sex with me, right? Do you want to hear her moaning?" I played the audio. She snapped at my phone. I handed over the pen drive to the affair partner saying, "You can hear the full audio here." She tried to snatch it, but affair partner didn't let her have it. I could already see the tension building between them. I left with a huge grin on my face. Revenge is best served cold, isn't it? Update 2. The divorce is settled. That's not it. I ruined them badly after I served her at the party. She and affair partner got an immediate suspension notice from the company asking them to stop coming to work. Until further notice, the HR investigated the matter. Their company had strict policies against workplace relationships. Both Nora and a AFF fair partner were fired on the following week. Back home, she tried to paint herself as the victim. She told everyone that I got jealous and insecure when she started working, and accused me of controlling her and cheating on her. Not only that, she said I ignored her and left her lonely for years, and that's why she wanted to divorce me to safeguard myself. I falsely framed her and created a scene at her office party to bring her career to ruin. The funny part was she was living with a fair partner. After moving out from here, she knitted a lie that I threw her out of the house. Hence, a fair partner pied her and took her in. That's how she fell in love with him, seeing he cared for her. Despite losing his job because of my jealousy, she flipped the entire narrative around me. But boy, I had all the evidence while the world may believe her lie. The court runs on evidence. Her dream of walking away with half of my assets was shattered. My lawyer fought to finish to protect my house. Yes, I had to pay alimony since she was jobless, but that was only 6 months of maintenance. I didn't mind parting away with that, because I got so much in return. I cannot even imagine what would have happened if I didn't act proactively. She was planning to blindside me and bring me on the streets. She and a fair partner had a wonderful life plan, and settling down with the money she received as alimony, sadly. For them, the alimony was barely enough to make her ends meet, or their ends, because he was also piling on her. The dude thought he could bang a rich wife and lead a comfortable life through the money she had brought from her divorce. Poor dork. He lost his job. His career went for a toss, and he had a freeloader in his life. Nora hated to work. She had lived a comfortable life for all these years. She went to work only because of the affair partner and the opportunity to get back at me. The poor girl now had to slog her butt to feed herself. When she thought it could not get worse, it did. After she was left with nothing from her divorce, the affair partner abandoned her. The cracks developed right from the moment I shared him the audio. I couldn't worry my head that he trusted a married woman not to have sex with her husband while still living with him. Maybe he was just putting up with her with the hope of hitting a jackpot at the end. When he didn't, he pushed her off. I got to know some of these through my lawyer during the proceedings when used her sob story to get more alimony from me. She really thought I gave a crap to her miserable life. I thank my stars for alerting me just at the right time and safeguarding my interest. I'm happier than ever after a year and a half of living in self-doubt. I have finally started to live and indulge in self-care. I have come out stronger than I thought I would. Thank God. She didn't walk away from this scot-free. Little old Nora thought she had it all planned out, but now she's struck with nothing, jobless, abandoned, and facing the consequences of her own choices. The fact that she thought she could use the alimony to set up her future with a fair partner is just a cherry on top of her delusional fantasy. Let's hope the road ahead for her is a lonely one. Rooting for you. What do you make of this? Let us know in the comments below, and thank you for joining us today on our space. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video.